Hey guys, I am going to go through and show you how to make a little pinch pot mug with a little handle on it. We're using the BRT because that's my favourite. To begin, I'm just going to pinch out a lovely section of clay into a pinch pot, and then I'll show you how to attach a little thin handle to that. So taking a section of clay that is kneaded out, there's no air bubbles in this fella, and taking it into a sphere. If you're working with a large piece of clay, you can kind of drop it on its corners to give yourself a head start. Keep in mind with mugs and bowls, anything that's holding volume, your clay shrinks once it's fired twice, so I'm going to make this around 20% bigger than I want it to be once it's fired. So taking my thumb into the center of the sphere until there's about a centimeter between my palm and my finger, and that's going to be the base of the vessel. From there, I just want to be pinching really slowly all the way around until I'm aiming for the height with the cup, because pinch pots naturally grow in volume. What I need to be focusing on more is the height of the vessel, otherwise I'm going to end up with a bowl, and that's okay. Often with pinch pots we do end up with larger pieces, but a trick is to just be keeping in mind where you need the clay to be when you're pinching, rather than just getting excited and attacking it. As you're going, the piece is probably going to crack. Just take your kidney tool, a clean kidney tool, and the straight edge, and just work those cracks and things out as you go, rather than leaving it to the end when it's all cracked and it's a bit harder to work out. As I'm going as well, I want to make sure it's growing evenly, so I bop it upside down a few times just to correct the lip. Making sure that I'm pinching all the clay in the bottom first, so that I haven't got sections of clay that are not going to dry out correctly and explode. It's a lovely slow process, one you can kind of multitask with. You can talk to someone next to you while you do this, which is lovely. Because there's no joints in a pinch pot, I like to go really thin. So I want a nice light cup. I'd rather have a taller vessel and have a correct thickness. I can always trim that down rather than ending up with a really chunky pot. My favourite at the moment is the mid-fire. I just love the way it looks, which is why I'm using the BRT. So this guy is going to be fired at a higher temperature, and it will turn a lovely chocolate brown, and all of the sand and grit in this clay will burn through a little bit more visible, which will be lovely. I also just like working with this clay because of the texture. Each to their own. Wonderful. So I've got a rough volume I'm happy with, correcting the base so that it stands up. Same thing with the lip, sometimes it's grown a bit wonky. If it is too high on one side, however, just take a trimming tool, cutting tool, and remove that section of clay. There's only so much you can compact it. At the end of the day, you need to remove it sometimes. Because I know I'm going to drink out of this little fella, I'm just going to trim the lip a little bit thinner, so it's a bit easier for me to drink out of. You don't want it too thin that that lip will crack when it's being fired, but at the same time I can afford to trim that down a little bit. I've seen some people really love to have their fingerprints showing on the mug, and they love the organic look of that. That's so great. If you do want more of a cleaner finish, however, take some time at this point, once you've got your volume, to correct the little lines and things. I turn it upside down and use my kidney tool, this straight edge again, and just be scraping some of that and compacting it down. You'll find it's easier once the clay is a little bit more leathery as well to smooth it, but you can get a cleaner finish. Wonderful. I will probably keep pinching this a little bit further, but I will show you how to attach a handle. So I'm going to make a pretty handle. It's not very functional because I actually just like to hold my mugs, but I'm going to show you how to make probably one of the more difficult handles. which is a really thin noodle, and it's going to be quite long as well, and not have as much surface area to attach. So take a section of clay that is fresh, preferably. If it is dry, then it's just going to crack as soon as you bend it. So for a handle, you kind of do need some super squishy clay. As much as we want to recycle the stuff sitting next to us, we can recycle that into some coils later. Wonderful, so I have rolled my handle, and keeping in mind as I go, I want it to be even all the way along so that it looks, just so that it looks nice and neat and even. Once I've got a thickness, I'm just running my hand right across to smooth out some of those lines very softly. I'm not actually pushing it that much. I just want to make sure I've gotten most of the lines out before I attach it. Cutting a straight edge on both sides. I might just take it to there. Wonderful. And then slowly bending that into shape. So that is going to sit on the side of my mug. Oh, hello. I'm going to make that shorter. And it's just going to be a fun little handle that just looks ridiculously too big for its for its mug, but it's cute. So how to attach those two together? Same as anytime you attach anything in hand building, we want to make sure we're scoring and slipping in between. So go ahead and score the edge of your coils and wherever you're going to place those coils. In this case, it's on my mug. And pop a little bit of slip on there as well, not too much. There's nothing magic in the slip, it's just going to help avoid any air pockets and make it easy for you to blend. So press it on there kind of firm. However, that is still quite a vulnerable joint, and I am pretty confident in saying that is likely to fall off once it's fired. So to avoid said disaster, we can pop a little coil right the way around the joint. So take a little bit of clay, roll them into a tiny little noodle, and just pop it right around the joint. Just so that you've got something to blend with rather than taking from your piece to blend. And then pick up a tool, and I'm just pushing that coil into the seam right the way around. Once you've blended it really well, you won't even notice that that is what you've done, but you've secured your join a lot better. Obviously for any of your handles, if you've made it too thin of a noodle, it's just more likely to crack. So you do want a nice sturdy handle. Probably the thickness of your pinky is the thinnest I would go for a little handle like that. Otherwise you're going to have a little panic attack every time you go to pick it up. Do that to the bottom as well. Admittedly, this is going to be a smaller size mug. If I knew I wanted to have an 8 ounce, I would make it as if I was making like a 12 or 16 ounce cup, just so that once it's shrunk down, you don't lose too much of that volume. Wonderful. Once you've done the attachment, then go in and just smooth it down so that it dries as you want it to be. I'm not too worried about my fingerprints and marks because I kind of like that handmade look, but you can get really smooth and really well finished if you take the time. Wonderful. So that is your little pinch pot mug with a handle.